Hey everyone, welcome to the Discover Leadership Podcast. I'm your host, Daniel Gray, and I am so excited to introduce you guys to Pastor Kim Pothier, aka Real Talk Kim. Pastor Kim, I am so honored to be able to have this conversation with you.
Thank you for letting me get on here with you. I'm super, super honored. I love you and
Of
your
course.
wife and 2 babies.
Of
It's
course.
awesome to be on here with you. Well, I just released my latest book. I have 3 books out, Beautifully Broken, Beautifully Whole, and now When Your Bad Meets Your Good.
Yes.
It just hit it all over America, which is really cool. And I pastor a great church here in Atlanta, Georgia, Church of the Harvest, Fayetteville.
Yes.
God just keeps blowing my mind every day, Daniel. I wake up and pinch myself. I can't even believe that I get to do all that God's let me do.
Yeah.
Like be on your podcast. What?
Oh, come on. I'd be honored to get on your podcast. What are you talking about? I'm learning from you. You're amazing. You're absolutely amazing.
Thank you so much. Ditto.
I'd love for our listeners, first of all, to hear a little of your story. How I know social media has become such a huge platform for you. In fact, I didn't know this until today, and I just kind of looked at this and I was like, man, with the big hitters, the heavy hitters in social media, I counted almost 1.5 million followers that you have across the major. I'm like, that is absolutely mind blowing to me. And so how did all that happen?
You know, Daniel, so in 2006, I was raised in a very, very strict religion. That basically said God was mean. He wasn't really a God of grace. So you get divorced, you're going to hell on a slip and slide. You get a DUI, you're going to hell on a slip and slide. Everything was wrong.
Yep.
And so I found myself in 2006, after 17 years, going through a divorce with my son's father. And I'd stayed in this marriage for 17 years, and there was just like nothing else that could happen in this marriage except for it just to dissolve. And I found myself just scared to death in that season. I had to move back in with my mom and dad at 36 years old. I lost all my pride, lost my house, lost my cars. I had 2 little boys that were 9 and 11 that were going through this divorce with me, and sin had just taken over our family. Addiction had taken over. And really in the church world, you don't talk, especially if you're in leadership, you don't talk about this stuff. And so basically you just are dying alone. And that's where we were, man. We were dying alone. And I moved back with my mom and dad, and I could get a job at Belk, which then I got moved to Bloomingdale's. And until 5 years ago, I was still at Bloomingdale's. At 40 years old when my ministry started. Basically, it started with me sitting on the side of the road because I had 1 hour going to Lennox and 1 hour coming back every day.
Yeah.
And I just decided, man, there's a reason why I'm the stubborn one in the family, the rebellious one in the family. There's a reason why I'm the only one that couldn't keep a marriage together. There's a reason why if you tell me I can't do something, I'm going to do it. There's a reason why the enemy's got me so stubborn. And I just need to start pulling my life together, stop blaming the world for where I am, and start getting better. You know what I'm saying? I think that's where we lose it in life, is we blame everybody, especially with millennials. We blame everybody else for the choices we make. Well, I just went on this journey of finding me, and I would listen to preaching every day, which was huge for me because my daddy was a preacher. I can't tell you one sermon he ever preached because I was all over the place.
Yeah.
And God just started giving me a hunger for Him. That's and a hunger to know more. And I was getting so saved in that car ride every day, man. I was learning how to prophesy over myself. I was learning how to hear. I didn't hear from God until I was 36 because I never stopped. I never had an experience with Him until I lost everything. I really believe that. I believe that sometimes God will let you hit rock bottom to find out who the rock is at the bottom, which is Jesus. So I found out who He was because I got abandoned, because when you go through something in life, a tragedy, a trauma, event in your life, a lot of times you lose everybody, and that's God separating you.
Yes.
You learn how to take the phone instead of the phone. And so I just was finding God in that season.
Yes.
And one day I was sitting on the side of the road because my car was a hoopty, And it was literally every day I'd be sitting on the side of the road on 75 with 6 gallons of antifreeze in my car because it was going to overheat. And I was going to be sitting on the side of the car, on the side of the road waiting for it to stop overheating. And so, man, instead of being mad at my car, I'd sit on the side of the road and do videos, little inspirational videos, sit on the side of the road. And one day I did one called Protect Your Anointing, and I put it up on YouTube, and that thing went viral. And
on YouTube.
Yes.
Okay.
It just went viral. Like these little 2-minute videos that I did them every day. Every single day, I would do a 2-minute video.
Wow.
And them videos started going viral. And I mean, rappers were sharing. It was like God immediately, because I really believe that God was like, girl, I trust you now. I trust you to be at a place in your life where when I begin to open the windows of heaven over your life on social media, I trust you not to prostitute your anointing. I trust you not to change who you are. I trust who you are. I trust you to speak on my behalf and be me with clothes on. And I really believe that's what happened. I got free from people pleasing. I got free from needing people's support. I got free. I mean, God just set me. God literally healed every broken place in my life in those 6 years.
Wow.
Sitting on the side of the road and working on people's faces at Bloomingdale's. And
wow.
I just, one day that video went viral. And I went from 637 friends on Facebook overnight, over 100,000.
Oh,
and
my
I remember
goodness.
I'd be listening to the comments. And they'd be like, why is she always in her car? Because every day I'd be doing a video in my car. Why is she always in her car? And I'd be sitting there thinking, I'd be screaming back at them, because I broke down.
That is amazing.
Yeah, man, if it wasn't for me sitting on the side of the road in my broke down car, if it wasn't for me running a man off in my big mouth for 17 years, I would never have had to do a job. I'd never been sitting on that side of the road. And I would have never, I mean, God just exploded my social media. God exploded my life overnight.
Yeah. And not only on social media, but, you know, I mean, I've been seeing you everywhere. I've been seeing you preaching on some of the, you know, the preaching, you know, powerhouse platforms, if you will, and going to other continents and seeing you and being in different cultures and different dynamics. And I have just been just so amazed to see the exposure just open up and see the impact that you've made. And it seems like, you know, I get to travel from time to time myself. That's what I'm doing full time now. And it seems like everywhere I go, people are talking about you or asking if I know you or saying, hey, have you ever heard? Yeah, I have. Hey, do you follow? Yeah, I do. And it's just been amazing because, you know, I remember the first time meeting you just briefly in passing. I was just an intern at a church. Yes, I think you were there with my wife's cousin, Terry.
I was decorating.
Yeah, and I just met you briefly and kind of ran off, and that was that. But you stuck out to me, and I remember, and I saw you. I knew who you were, and I knew who you were connected with at the churches over there at your church, and then to see everything just explode out of nowhere, I was like, I know her. It was one of those like, I know her. So I saw before all the followers, before all the subscribers, before all the videos, before it went viral, you know, you were probably at, you know, we didn't know each other then. You were in a completely different season, I'm sure, but man.
I was still with Bloomingdale's then, and my job on the side was decorating.
Right.
And so I was at your church decorating for y'all's youth event.
Yeah, we were doing a youth conference. That's right.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I wasn't even preaching then.
Oh my goodness, that is so amazing to think back. I remember like it was yesterday. Seeing you guys walking through the halls, looking up, and doing the whole thing. Let me let me ask a question based off just your social media, because I mean. Let me ask a question that I think a lot of leaders or millennial leaders particularly would like to know. And let me ask it this way. If a millennial leader said to you, hey, Real Talk Kim, I want to be an influencer on social media like you. And then they asked you, what advice would you give me? What would you tell them?
Be consistent. Be consistent. Even when you don't want to get up and put out there, you've got to do it every day.
Yes.
I am very consistent. I run all of my own social media platforms. I believe that the problem is people are hiring people to run their social media platforms because they're trying really hard to build influence on there. And what's happening is the people they're hiring don't have their heart. And millennials nowadays, especially millennials, they can see through fake.
Oh yeah.
They can see through, this thing. I just think that you got to do you.
That's
and
good.
I think that you got to be consistent. You need to listen to your heart when God says to do. I'm so led by the Holy Spirit, and I try to keep all my stuff kind of in the same vein day to day.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be all over the place. And so the main thing I would tell people is be consistent every day. Be putting stuff up there every day.
Okay.
In that you got to be consistent. Even when you get 10 likes, don't stop.
Right.
Keep being. People are watching, and so that's what I would say. I would definitely say be consistent and do you.
Yes, that's so good. Thank you for that. Let me ask you. When you said that you will do things from time to time in the same vein because you're posting so often, do you have an example? Can you give an example of how you would do that?
Yeah, if I'm doing relationship, if I'm in the relationship vein, I'm going to pretty much keep all my stuff relationship. Like everything's going to be, in that relationship vein. There's some days that I'm a little bit all over the place, but with different stuff, but mostly.
That's because you're prophetic.
Yes.
That's because you're prophetic, so you can't help it sometimes, right?
Yes.
Well, if you were in
I even have like stuff in a folder on my phone for days like that. Like days where I'm just worn out, man, because I've been on 20 planes that week. I'm not feeling in the bag. I still know that I still have to be consistent. So I'll have a folder for just run to stuff where it's just, I got to put something up today. And so I'm just even consistent when I'm tired.
That is so good. And one thing you said that stuck out to me is you said that you do you're doing your own social media, whatever level that may mean that for you. That could be surprising to some of the listeners because it's so big, it's so huge. And not only that, but I'll say this, and I mean this, it's excellent. Like your stuff looks so good. It's so clean and professional and the light, everything that you're doing. And so one would look at it and assume that because you're so busy and you're traveling and preaching that you've just got a whole staff for this. You got somebody paid full time to do all this.
Yeah.
Wow.
I even make my own pictures.
That is amazing.
I will sit on the plane and make pictures.
This is gold for young leaders right now. This is gold.
Because you don't have to have a big staff. Can I tell you that I literally would be sitting in my mom and dad's house, living in a 10 by 10 bedroom, lost everything. And you would have thought I was in a penthouse tweeting. I literally always, and Twitter gave me Real Talk Kim. Like, I didn't even come up with that name. Like, Twitter, my name was taken, and Twitter said, we recommend you go with Real Talk Kim because it's available. And so it's like God's always had his hand on every area of my life like that since I've been healed.
Wow.
Since God started moving in my life at 40. But I literally... People ask me all the time, they're like, so you have a staff that helps you run your social media? I don't even, people don't even post for me. Like even my team, every once in a while, I'll tell them, go on there and put up the conference, because I'm doing my personal conference this year here in Atlanta. And they'll be like, they know that my platforms are so, I respect them so much that they're even afraid to do it. They're like, well, they'll call me like 5 times. Are you sure? Because I know that God has trusted me with these people that don't have to follow me.
Right.
And it's become my ministry. You know what I'm saying? Like when I'm in the airport and I look across the tram and there's someone just standing there crying, looking at me. And they're like, you don't understand what your ministry, what Instagram has done for me. You do not understand. I was ready to commit suicide. I had a gun in my mouth. And God just brought you into my news feed at that very moment. And I called my cousin and tell my cousin, come get this gun out of my house. And he saved my life. Man, what?
Amazing.
That just blows my mind.
That
blows my mind.
It's something that I think I realize now why I think I'm intrigued by you and your ministry and how you minister and the message that you carry. I think I really realize why, because, and I even noticed this on your newest book about bad and good, and about pain is where you will find your purpose, and finding purpose in that pain. And I share that same life message, of kind of what I went through. And so your message really speaks to me, and it speaks to so many others. And I just think it's amazing to see how God has used what are really tools to reach people. And 10, 20 years ago, to say somebody was going to have 1.5 million followers or plus, and whatever, even the other ones I'm not counting, just
crazy.
the main
I
ones.
didn't even know that.
It's amazing. If you just look at Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook, just those four, you're right at 1.5 million people that you're touching and you're reaching. And it's mind-boggling. Let me shift the gear for a little bit here and ask a more practical question. I try to ask this to all our guests. You have a lot going on, not just with social media, obviously, but everything else we've mentioned: meetings, interviews, books, radio, podcasts, YouTube, travel. The list can go on. With such a crazy, and I'm sure at times demanding schedule, do you have a morning routine or a weekly routine or some kind of routine, or are there things that you do that you feel like you have to do to keep going?
Yes. So on Mondays, I usually travel every single weekend. I usually travel about 50 weeks out of the year. And that usually consists of Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. And every Monday I take off to do nothing but just rest. People don't call me unless they're dying. And that day is just for me to regroup. Mm-hmm. It's very important to me because I believe that's what keeps me warm. People always say, how do you do it? That Monday's like my day. Like I can go get on 5 planes in a weekend knowing that Monday's my day to regroup.
Yeah.
Tuesdays, I wake up at 7 a.m. and I have a prayer call every Tuesday. And usually Tuesday nights, I always have a Facebook Live and a Periscope Live.
Oh, can you share the info real quick on the prayer call?
Yes, it is. You know what? My prayer call number changed this week, but every single Tuesday at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, EST, I am on 515-606-5392. 515-606-5392. You just dial that number, and when it asks for an access code, it is 222-779 #pound, a pound sign.
Boom.
And so I do that every single Tuesday.
Awesome.
And I've done that for about 3 years. And I also am on Facebook Live with that as well. And every Tuesday night, I'm going to be on one of all my platforms. I usually get on Facebook Live first at 7 Eastern Standard Time at night. And I do Periscope and Facebook at the same time. And then I go on Instagram Live. And I usually bring my followers in with me, and I just chat with them. You can just dial in. So that's every Tuesday I do that.
Wow.
And then the rest of the week, man, I'm just very intentional about, even if I don't, because I'm not like y'all. I ain't like a man. Y'all can just decide, let me get on Facebook Live. Y'all ain't got no makeup to put on. you got to fix your hair. And I do. So I have to just be intentional with it.
Yeah.
That's a lot of work. So all week I'm just constantly thinking about, I got to get on today. And I'll go through some weeks, man, where I'm traveling a lot and I don't feel like it. I don't feel like getting on there. I don't feel like it because I have to study for Facebook Lives just like I do a sermon. I don't just get on there and just, say whatever. I study for these. I'm with the Lord on it. And some weeks I'm just like, man, but I make myself do it. And I think that's why God trusts me.
Yeah. It's almost like a pastor knowing that it's another service. Even if you don't feel like it, it's something that the people are expecting, and you're committed to doing it no matter how you feel.
Yeah, and I'm writing another book. I just signed another book deal with Creflo. So then the rest of the week, man, I'm intentionally writing. I just every single day it's like I look at this like I would have to get up to still go to Bloomingdale's.
Yes.
So I'm always constantly working on my social media platforms.
That's so good. I think that'll be so helpful.
And I even try to answer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I even go up under there. It's important to a lot of people don't realize this, but the more you like your stuff, people's comments, the more you comment back, that keeps you in the feed.
Ah, yeah.
You got to know the algorithms.
Man, that's so good. Well, we can tell you know the algorithms.
I do know the algorithms.
I love it. I think the things you're saying aren't just good for people who want to be in ministry or on social media, period. Even for someone who just wants to be an entrepreneur, to know that if you are trying to start a business, that you can't just start it and then hope it just like does well. You've got to put your whole life into this thing, and you better be disciplined like you do have a boss, because you're your own boss.
Right. And if you're not in people's faces, out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
You know, I started realizing even on Facebook, I was like, man, what's going on? Like, you know, statuses used to get 10,000, get like 1,000. What's going on? And I started researching it. So you got to research it. Don't just give up. You got to start researching how can I fix this. And I realized the algorithms. So I started putting posts up. You know, Facebook crashed 3 months ago. And it took all of you that had seen my notifications first, it took all that out. And it literally reset people's Facebook.
Wow.
So
and that's why you did the post of turn on your notifications.
Yes.
I see it right here on Facebook. There it is, because you knew. Yes. And I didn't know. And a lot of people probably didn't know that you needed to do that again.
Yeah. And so you constantly have to be on top of it. And that's a lot of work, but it's worth it. Because my book, When Your Bad Meets Is Good, went bestseller just like that because of social media. So you got to constantly stay ahead of it. You got to constantly be working kinks out and constantly just staying on your game. And even when Facebook's got you out of people's algorithms, keep posting.
Yeah.
The more you post, the more they put you up. They put you there. I don't pay for nothing either. Like people sponsor stuff. I don't do none of that.
Wow. And people, again, I think people would assume that you probably do because of the influence. That's amazing.
Well, somebody told me one time that if you paid once, you got to keep paying.
Oh.
You know, I'm like, here's how I look at it. I look at it like, if God did it before, he's going to keep doing it.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And I don't want nothing that ain't from God. I don't want nothing that I got to work it, that I got to put like cast and fees. I don't believe it's God. So I'm just constantly like, I'm just going to do my part and let God do his. I'm going to stay faithful. It's almost like tithing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's almost like tithing. You just keep doing it even when you don't see the benefits, and then one day, poof, it all comes to fruition. That's how I am with everything God's trusted me with.
Man, that's so good, Pastor Kim. That's so good. I want to respect your time. I just want to see if I can slip in 2 more questions that are more practical, and you can probably answer these kind of quickly. The first one is just simply this one, and this is a question that's kind of like the other one. I'm trying to ask this to all our guests, and so here it is.
Yes.
What book or books have most impacted you?
Man, Soar with T.D. Jakes, and I think that everybody should go watch the interview that him and Stephen Furtick did together.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more.
Because it tells you everything that you feel. Because man, you go through some seasons where, and I love this new book, Crush, that come out today. I've been reading up on that. I like a lot of his stuff. I also love. Of course, you're asking me the names of books, and so now I'm having a brain freeze, but I'm about to go look at the book. This new book, Leadership.
Okay.
That book was awesome. I think that's the name of it. Hold on, I'm looking.
Yeah. Was that Dr. Chand?
Well, the one I'm talking about was, I don't even remember. Hold on.
It's fine.
It's a great book because I use a story out of it all the time. The story about the shuttle rockets that are on the side of I don't even see the book, man. It's called Leadership, and I don't know who the author is, but it talks about about 2 years ago when God was about to elevate my life. Literally, the platforms I stood on changed. Everything changed. And I have the book because I travel with it. Also, I love Unqualified by Stephen. That book.
Yes.
2 years ago, I went through when God was about to literally shift my platforms. I went from like small venues to like mega venues. Mm-hmm. And right before that happened, it was that year that happened. I lost literally all the staff that started ministry with me. And I was devastated. I mean, it was a relationship. Like, I was trying to fight for these relationships, and it was like God was just not letting it work. And man, my heart was just broken, and I was trying to fight for these relationships, and God said, as I, stop trying to stabilize what I'm shaking you free from. Where you're going, they're not bad people. They just aren't qualified to go with you to that level. It doesn't mean they're bad. It just means that if they stayed in your circle, they would limit your growth because of familiarity. And man, I cried for like 3 months, and then God really dealt with me, and I got a hold of that book, Leadership. And in there was a story about how there's rocket boosters on the side of a shuttle, and these rocket boosters are created to fall off at a certain level. And if they were to stay on, they would keep the rocket shuttle from being able to go into orbit. And so you got to let the rocket boosters, which are people in your life, that when people start falling off, you got to let them fall off. It doesn't mean they're bad people. It just means they can't go into that orbit with you. Man, that thing set me free. I tell you, I got up, wiped my tears, and I look back now. So I'm always reading books. I'm always, cause up here it gets lonely. You know what I'm saying? Like you just, there's seasons. They're not supporting me the way I thought. You just go through stuff because you're human. And man, when I tell you that I look back now, just 2 years later, and I think about it, and I think, oh my God, if they would have stayed, my ministry would not be where it's at today. If that assistant would have stayed, that assistant could never, ever handle my world now. 15 like today, they wouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah.
And so now I realize, and I preach that message. Let people go. Let them go. When God starts shaking you free, stop fighting it and trust God that He knows what He's doing. And even when you're uncomfortable. So I always read books like that. Leadership, Unqualified, Soar.
Yes.
Those are probably my favorite books right now.
I think I was looking for it while you were talking. It looks like it is. Is it by Joseph W. Walker?
Yes.
Leaderships. Okay, that's awesome. Mastering Transitions in Leadership and Life.
That's
okay,
it, man.
I'm gonna order it off Amazon as soon as we're done with our interview today.
Man, that book changed my life, because it talks about how when he took he's got a big church, and when he was trying to take over the church or get moved into these positions, how people in that church fought him. And so it's just a great book I like anything that's got a good story in it that's going to keep pushing you, keep your mind focused.
Yeah, definitely.
I watched that interview with Stephen Furtick and T.D. Jakes quite often on Soar. And I would recommend that to all leaders, that are, especially if you're just getting started in ministry, or if you're in ministry and you're tired. You just want to quit, man. Your church ain't moving. Your ministry doesn't feel like it's growing. Keep stuff like this in your spirit, because we look at all these people that are doing great things in the world, and we think that we're looking at their highlight reel.
Yeah.
It's so cool to hear the back scenes.
So true.
Stuff that they wanted to give up to at lots of points.
Mm-hmm.
And they made it. And so I'm always listening to stuff like that.
Man, that's so awesome. Well, let me end with a really, really fun question to ask.
Okay.
And you've already given us so much of kind of what I'm about to ask. You've already given us so much that I'm excited to ask another question that will kind of get to elicit a little bit more response from you. So here it is.
Okay.
What is one of your greatest life lessons? That can be a story, like the car on the side of the road you've already shared, or it could be something that was just a simple phrase someone said to you, or even you were watching a movie, what's one of your greatest life lessons? Maybe it's something that's been even recently been on your mind. It's something that's really taught you something that you'd like to hand down to next gen leaders.
And I would just say, look at the thing that God really showed me in my season when I felt like isolated and I felt like He wasn't answering my prayers, was look at your Bloomingdale experience. Look at where you're at right now and realize that you got to get whatever lesson that God's trying to give you in a season. Don't waste your hell. Look for every single thing that can be in your bestseller that's going to come in 2 years. Write down, get you a gratitude journal and write. Because when you come out of this, because you will, when you come out of the season that you're in right now, the isolated season or the season where you feel alone, you're gonna get out of this season, then you're gonna forget. So I think I write everything down, And then whenever I'm signed another book deal, I can just go refer back. Oh yeah, I remember laying in the bed, not wanting to get up after my divorce, and not, you know, feeling like God had forgotten about me. I remember laying there and God said, get up. I can't take your pain away. You got to get up and walk away from it. And so write everything down, man. Get that gratitude journal out and realize that your ladder is going to be greater. It ain't over. Because as long as you got a pulse, God's got a plan. And the more hell you go through, you got to realize that thieves don't rob empty vaults. Keep moving.
Yes. That is amazing. That is so good. Pastor Kim, I can't thank you enough for coming on the show.
Man, thank you, Daniel, for letting me come on with you today.
Thank you so much for doing this. This is awesome.
Man, super honored. You are incredible. Kiss your beautiful wife and your kids.
I will. Thank you so much. You know, Heather absolutely adores you. And so she was just as excited as I am that you were going to do a call with me. So, I mean, really means so much. You're awesome.
All right, man. Appreciate you.
All right. Well, we appreciate you. You have a good day, and I'll talk to you soon.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.